The Office of Lost Property in London is not a happy place. It's filled with frustrated people, tedious forms, and workers who have clearly heard it all before. On that rainy Thursday morning, I would have rather been anywhere else than waiting in the never-ending queue. I took a deep breath as the attendant finally called me to the counter. Glancing at my form, she recited in monotone: name, address, postcode. I could feel myself morphing into a statistic in the archives of the London Transport Authority. Then suddenly her voice softened. Oh dear, a lost bunny. Can you give any other description? You'd be surprised how many toys we find on the tube. Near tears, I whispered, small, light purple fur, a white and purple bow. And she's worn a bit, I guess. She saw my eyes welling up. Let's add well-loved, shall we? And that's when I come undone. In this room full of strangers looking for cell phones and pocketbooks, I am sobbing over my daughter's lost bunny. The attendant offers me water, tissues, reassuring words that she might be found. I'm shocked to see that her eyes are teary too. As I go, she explains. For me, it was Bobby Teddy. God, I loved that bear. It had happened the previous day, en route to a matinee of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. We were living north of London and entertaining some visiting friends. Madison asked if Purple Bunny could come along to the show, and in a momentary lapse of sanity, I agreed. We took the train to Euston Station, the tube to Charing Cross, a 3-block walk to the Adelphi Theater, and then, Mom. Maddie's eyes were wide, her outstretched hands were empty. Purple Bunny's gone. My heart skipped a beat, then started racing. As we headed back through the crowds, scanning the pavement for a glimpse of Purple, the enormity of this loss hit hard. Even with Maddie's growing posse of stuffed friends, Purple Bunny was the clear leader of the pack. She was always tucked in next to Madison at bedtime. She had her own cereal box house, a wardrobe of paper clothes, and a homemade U.S. passport. She showed up in endless family pictures, donning a birthday hat at Connor's party, relaxing poolside at Grandma's house, lovingly posed next to 2-day-old Maya. Purple Bunny was one of us. As we went back to the theater, I tried to convince Maddie that there was hope. But she was nearly 9, and she got it. Purple Bunny was gone. She was inconsolable throughout the show and on the long, lonely ride home. To say she cried herself to sleep that night would be an understatement. The sobbing broke my heart. So the next day, I decided that I needed to serve penance for my parental negligence. I went back into London to pull off the ultimate one-woman hunt for Purple Bunny. I rode 6 different trains en route from Euston to Charing Cross, scouring each car for a floppy ear peeking out from under a rear seat. When that failed, I hit the lost property office. Once I'd regained my composure from the attendant's kindness, I decided to give a last-ditch effort. Stopping in every shop between Charing Cross and the Adelphi, I asked if anyone had turned in a child's cuddly toy. In the 8th shop, the clerk looked at me, astonished, and asked, "Was it a bunny?" I nodded, and I swear I heard the happy ending music playing in my ear. I waited for her to reach behind the counter in super slow motion to retrieve Purple Bunny. Instead, she stared sadly back at me. "I saw it yesterday," she reported. "Someone had hung it on the lamppost outside." I ran out to the street, and sure enough, there was a string dangling in the wind with a loop that would have perfectly secured a small, well-loved bunny. I wish I could tell you that my search ended there, my tears pouring with the rain onto the busy sidewalk, but my desperation pushed me onward. Suffice it to say that the London Metropolitan Police have a registered missing bunny report on file, and I have 3 phone numbers for local street sweeping services. But alas, I too had to return home empty-handed. After a few heartbreaking months, Maddie started rotating in other stuffed friends for sleepovers, but there was never a true replacement. I tried to help her believe that Purple Bunny must be with another child, one who needed her more than we did. She didn't really buy it, though, and neither did I. We just missed her. I know it's only a stuffed animal, and I try to analyze the lasting depths of our grief. For Maddie, Purple Bunny was security and consistency. Madison has every reason to feel safe. She's happy, healthy, and loved. Yet she has very real fears as she continues to sort out who she is, who her friends are, and what really matters. As for me, I know that a big part of parenting is learning to let go, to let our kids maneuver through this crazy world on their own. It just felt nice when Maddie had Purple Bunny to hold on to for part of the journey. If there is to be an upside to our sad saga, it can be found in the teary eyes of the lost property worker or in the woman who saw me sobbing on the sidewalk and stopped to ask, "You all right, love?" It can be found in my sister-in-law's automatic willingness to ignore her fear of mice and go dumpster diving with me, or in the passerby who saw Purple Bunny for who she was and tried to send her home. We learned that when it matters most and you expect it least, even complete strangers find ways to show they care. And in the absence of a favorite stuffed animal, that is something to hold on to for a lifetime.